Hey, time for a life update. This might be a multi-parter. I made a video a few days ago, maybe a week ago. My husband had an aneurysm 11, 12 days ago now. I'm at home. He is still in the hospital. Aneurysms are a scary thing, and he is one of the very small percentage that is surviving it and will survive it and will have more than likely no lasting neurological effects. For those interested, the survival rate of an aneurysm is about 30%, and that's a scary number. And that's not even something that you want to put somebody in the car to drive them to the emergency room. If you have someone, a loved one, a friend, and you're with them and they're having the absolute worst headache of their life, call 911 immediately. Don't put them in the car. Don't drive them to a hospital. Get 911 on the phone, because that, generally speaking, is either a stroke or an aneurysm, and that needs immediate medical attention. I'm not giving medical advice, but that, generally speaking, is what that is. And in my husband's case, it was an aneurysm. And I happened to be working at home that day, and if I hadn't been, he wouldn't be here with us now. So again, survival rates are only about 30% for aneurysms. And the survival rate after the first 3 days goes down from that initial 30%, and that's a scarier number. He was looking up survival statistics yesterday and scaring himself. So don't let them do that either. But he's actually doing very well right now. And advocate for your patients. Don't let your loved ones go to a hospital, or go to a hospital, get into a situation where you don't have somebody to advocate for you, or that you have a loved one that doesn't have somebody to advocate for them. I've been there every day with my husband. My job has been gracious enough to allow me to work full remote for the duration of his hospital stay. And I am so grateful for that. I cannot even express how grateful I am for that. I am so thankful that I have the ability to work remotely, and that I have a boss that's been so understanding and so flexible with this, because he's needed me there to advocate for him. He wasn't able to advocate for himself for at least the first week. He had a lot of neurological symptoms, and he had developed something called ICU delirium, because when you have a neurological problem you're in the ICU, they test you every hour on the hour. Basically, they ask you the questions: what's your name? Why do you know where you are? Do you know what the date is? Why are you here? And they do that every hour. So you're not getting a lot of sleep. So you have a lot of sleep loss symptoms, and that's going to cause a little bit of psychosis after a while. And the poor guy, he knows we have 3 sons, but he couldn't remember names or ages. And there for a couple of days, he was calling me by his first wife's name, which I don't mind. I didn't mind it at all. I love her. She's a great person. And I knew what he was going through, so that didn't bother me. The doctors, on the other hand, were complete fools. They refused to answer questions. They refused to come up with a plan. They refused to answer any questions that I had about the treatment. And honestly, they were not very fond of me advocating for my loved one, for my husband, for my patient. They avoided his room if they knew I was in there, because I advocated for him. And that's what you want to do for your loved one in the hospital. You need to advocate for their care. And doctors don't like it. They don't like to be questioned. It threatens their God complex. And that's just been our experience. And I am a very firm believer in the fact that everybody needs to have an advocate, or you need to advocate for your loved ones in the hospital, just to make sure that they get the care that they deserve, that they need. And I still don't think they're doing right by my husband. I know the same hospital, we've not had a good experience at this hospital, not once. So I wasn't super thrilled when the stroke ambulance, they have a stroke specific ambulance, which I'm actually grateful they have, because they had to do some extra work on him that a regular ambulance couldn't do on the day that he had the aneurysm. But the stroke ambulance took him to Central DuPage Hospital in Winfield, Illinois, and I wasn't super thrilled, because it's not a great hospital in our experience. Every time we had to take the kids there for sports injuries, every time we've had to go there, it's been a lousy experience. And there's a lot of trauma involved. But we didn't really have a choice. So we've made the best of it that we could. And again, the nursing staff has been fantastic this time around. They really have been fantastic. The doctors have been the opposite of fantastic. I have had to lodge so many complaints against these people for not communicating with us, for not talking to us, for completely ignoring me. And they would come into his room. I timed them. And they would come into his room. They'd stare at him for about 4.5 minutes, completely ignore me asking questions, trying to advocate for him, and then leave. And that's not acceptable. So they completely ignored me just about every single day until I threatened to move him to a new hospital. Suddenly, the dollar signs are going away, and now we have a plan. So that's not a coincidence. So now we have a plan and to get him home. So you can't tell me that they're not worried about losing money if somebody takes a patient out of their hospital and suddenly they're willing to talk and they're willing to answer every question I have. I swear, these people are ridiculous. But again, the nursing staff was great. Doctors are not. And my husband is finally doing well because they decided to stop giving him meds that were making him sick and meds that were making him do nothing but sleep. And finally, he's alert. And it took me basically threatening their collective pocketbooks to do it. I hate these people. I absolutely hate these people. So make sure that if you guys are ever in a situation where you have a loved one in a hospital, make sure that you are there or that someone is there to advocate for them, to make sure they get the care that they need. Because my husband was not getting the care that he needed. And I was advocating for him. I was advocating my butt off. And he finally started getting the care that he needed. The squeaky wheel, seriously, in any situation, especially this healthcare situation that he's in right now, finally got the oil. Don't mind the dogs. So the squeaky wheel does get the oil, even in a healthcare situation. You just have to know what buttons to push. And unfortunately, it's the money buttons. But yes, my husband is doing well. He will hopefully be home soon and he can continue healing at home. But this has been one of the worst experiences of our lives. And medically speaking, I hope to never see these foolish doctors again because they have not been. Honestly, I don't think they should be allowed to practice medicine ever because they have been horrible. They have been that bad. I've never seen so much shoulder shrugging in my life. Oh, well, your husband's got a giant lake of blood in his brain? Not our problem. These are neurosurgeons. And come on, this is your only job. So, but again, the nursing staff has been fantastic and they've treated him very well. So just make sure. Worst headache of your life, worst headache of your loved one's life, 911. Never put him in the car and drive him to a hospital because by then it might be too late. Always advocate for your loved one. Make sure if it's you, make sure you have someone there to advocate for you. It's necessary. It 100% is necessary, especially in this country. It's 100% necessary because it's all about the dollars. They don't care about you. They just don't. All they care about is what money they can make off of you. Have a great night, everybody.